So we've done a number of programs over the years. The Bird Foundation is a fantastic program. It stands for Binational Industrial R&D, Research and Development Foundation. It was set up about 40 years ago by the U.S. Department of Commerce and the Israeli Ministry of Industry and Trade. And it funds joint research between American and Israeli companies, not just Maryland, but American and Israeli companies, to the tune of up to $1 million. And even better, the grants do not have to be repaid if the project fails in the market. So it's a great opportunity for American companies to get a nice chunk of money and partner with, and it's usually some kind of startup Israeli high-tech company that's got some unique technology that the American company wants to incorporate into one of their existing technologies. And then they work together for a couple of years and they create something new out of it. The Bird Foundation uses organizations like ours around the country to help them put deals together. So we specifically work to match Maryland and Israeli companies to do joint research and to get the Bird Foundation grants. So that's been a great program. We usually have 1 or 2 projects a year that get funded. This year we had 2 projects funded. We had 3 submissions. 1 did not get accepted. We had 2 projects funded, which was really nice. We also get a finder's fee out of it, which is helpful for us. So the Maryland Israel Trendlines Fund. So we're constantly looking at new ways to create opportunities between Maryland and Israeli companies. And for instance, we set up this program called Market Reach America many years ago, which is an early version of an accelerator where we brought over delegations of Israeli companies for a week-long strategic planning process and mentoring and so forth. And then we really, through that process, which was very helpful to the companies, but bottom line is they still need investment. They still need dollars to get started. So we mulled over for years as this venture capital industry is really booming in Israel, what could we do to have investment capital for these startup companies. We partnered with an Israeli firm called Trendlines, the Trendlines Group, which at the time had been our representatives on the ground in Israel. It was a consulting firm. And then Trendlines changed and became an investment company themselves and stopped doing consulting and raised a venture fund. And then we had become friends over the years and talked about how we could work together to partner on creating a venture fund to invest in Israeli companies that we could try to attract to Maryland. So we did not set it up as a requirement for them to come to Maryland, because if it's going to be a true venture fund, then they've got to go where it makes the most sense for them. So we just figured we'll set up the fund and we'll help them and we'll work with them, we'll establish the relationship, and we'll have a shot at them if and when they need to set up offices in the United States. So we raised about $4.25 million from 40 angel investors in the Baltimore, Washington region, and assigned Trendlines to be the administrator and managing partner of the fund, which basically meant that they sourced the deals, they did the due diligence. They were already going to invest in these deals, and they presented, it's called a sidecar fund. They presented these opportunities to us to see if our fund wanted to invest in. And we had an investment committee ourselves from the 40 investors. And so we invested in 12 companies with the $4 million. At this point, we're very encouraged. We've had, I think it's been about 5 to 7 years at this point that we've had the fund. So we've had 2 or 3 companies have exits. We've had 2 or 3 companies go out of business, and we've got another half a dozen or so that are still chugging along, working on their technology, raising money. A lot of them, most of the 12 companies are in medical devices, so they have clinical trials to do. So they're in some fashion working through the clinical trial process and regulatory approval. So we're pretty excited. 3 exits out of 12 is already a nice track record. So we're really hoping for another couple more, and we'll be looking to raise a second fund at that point.